Good evening and welcome to the first webinar presented by the Clean Slate campaign, the Campaign for Change. My name is Lisa Aquilina and I am the campaign manager for this slate. I started with the company in 1993, retiring this February 2014. I am so honored to be part of this campaign to elect Kathy Charles as the next IBEW business manager. I have known Kathy for over 14 years and I am proud to say I have never met a more intelligent, well thought out, honest, and fair human being. I stand by her 100%. Running for vice president is Michael Sweet. Michael started with the company 9 years ago, working out of the Concord office as a premise rep. In the past, he was a proud member of both the Teamsters and Retail Clerks Union. He currently serves as a member of the Employment Engagement Committee, which provides a unique perspective on the interpersonal relations and the mindset of our new owners group. Michael began his journey of candidacy to make a difference and to be part of the solution. Thank you, Michael. Running for president on the Clean Slate ticket is Stan Angel. Stan began his career with Pac Bell in 1999. Stan believes that a strong, honest, and united union is crucial to everyone's success. He believes if members are satisfied in their jobs, the company is successful. It's a true win-win. Thank you, Stan. To ask questions during Kathy's presentation, go to the chat window, click on the drop-down menu, and direct your questions to @KathyCharles, or ask her directly at the end of her presentation. All webinars are being recorded and will be posted to www.cleanslate1269.com. Thank you all for attending. Now I present Kathy Charles, IBEW's next business manager.
Thank you, Lisa. I just want to say welcome to all the in-region members, the out-of-region members, the DEX members, and the toll technicians, members of IBEW 1269. Thank you for taking the time to attend this webinar. My goal today is to talk about the issues facing our local and my plans to return Local 1269 to the membership. It is the membership that should be running this union, not any single power-driven person or a tight-knit circle of followers. Unions were formed on the basis of democracy. IBEW has a constitution that guarantees government by democracy. If our local had been properly governed by democracy, this would not be the first election in over 20 years. As a matter of fact, the law and the IBEW Constitution require elections every 3 years. Peter Pusatari has been running our union with absolute power and control for over 50 years. He makes it clear that he's in charge and will not be questioned. On the rare times that Peter does communicate, it's through those YouTube videos or one-way conference calls, just so he can talk at us and not have to answer any questions. Years ago, Peter used to have real meetings, but if anybody dared ask a question or disagreed with him, he'd yell at them and humiliate them into silence. It is time for his dictatorship to end. Now I'd like to address some of the major issues in our union. I'm going to be doing a comparison between the way Peter currently controls the union and by the way you and I will handle these problems together once I'm business manager. Transparency, otherwise known as clear honesty, is non-existent in Local 1269. Have you ever seen a financial report? Do you have a copy of the IBEW Constitution or the Local 1269 bylaws? Do you have any idea how your union dues are being spent? As business manager, I guarantee you this union will function in a manner that is completely transparent to the membership from day one. There will be no hidden agendas, and the closed door of union will be thrown wide open. All members will have complete access to financial reports, including receipts, invoices, and all the executive board minutes. You should know that all of this is mandated by the IBEW Constitution, which our current business manager just chooses to completely ignore. It's really a shame that respect is even an issue, but fortunately it is a very large issue with our current leadership. Respect is a foundation of democracy. When I am elected business manager, the days of being bullied and disrespected by Peter Pusatari and his former assistant, Casey Lewis, will be long gone. You'll be encouraged to participate in meetings, ask questions, and debate issues without anyone talking over you, yelling at you, or humiliating you. You can call the union office anytime with any needs or questions, and you will always be treated with the respect everyone deserves. I will work for you. We don't even have monthly union meetings right now, even though they are required by the IBEW Constitution. A couple of months ago, me and several other in-region members showed up in San Francisco at what was supposed to be a local union meeting. Peter was not even there, and neither were any of the executive board members. So we decided to hold the meeting anyway, and it was the best meeting I had ever attended. We all talked about the current bargaining, and we came up with some really good ideas for the bargaining team. We sent Peter the notes from the meeting, and then all hell broke loose. Peter sent an email to all of the 1269 membership and chastised us for daring to have a meeting without him. In that email that went to the entire membership, he attempted to humiliate me by posting an email that I had sent directly to him, which had our suggestions for the bargaining team. His email to the membership started off with an introduction to Kathy Charles, and it ended with a thinly veiled threat to me which said, "Be careful of your actions because they may have unintended or intended consequences." I quote that. That says a lot about Peter Pusatari. As business manager, I would look forward to monthly union meetings. I'll hold monthly meetings via webinar so that all members can participate. Members will be able to openly ask questions, discuss, and vote on issues. We'll get to know each other, and everyone will have a voice in solving problems and advancing our main agendas. There won't be any more of these secret union company side agreements that Peter is so fond of. The company will soon learn that all requests for any agreements will be brought to the voting membership. Once the company realizes that the members are in control of the decision-making process, their attitudes towards us will change. Peter selects his stewards based on their unquestioned loyalty and devotion to him. That's why we currently have very few stewards. Most of the stewards are also members of the executive board, so Peter has absolute control. The whole idea of having an executive board is for them to provide oversight and safeguard our union funds. Peter has hand-selected these individuals solely based on their loyalty, and they provide absolutely no oversight. Let me tell you a little story of my own experience with Peter and the executive board. At the time I was the chief union steward in the Concord, California office, I was invited to attend an executive board meeting in San Francisco. I was thrilled because I thought I would finally have the chance to address issues from my office. What actually occurred during this board meeting was not anything that I had expected. The only word I can find to describe this meeting is surreal. The entire 5-hour meeting consisted of Casey Lewis pontificating about himself and ranting and humiliating the other board members. I was horrified and at the same time uncomfortable because during this meeting I noticed Peter was quietly watching me and observing my reactions. After the meeting, just as I was trying to get out of there, Peter came up to me, kissed me on the cheek, and told me he was glad I was there. It was very awkward, and I felt like I had just been accepted into a secret organization. It really disturbed me, and shortly after, I resigned as chief steward. The reason I was telling you about this meeting is because that meeting was an awakening to what was going on within the inside circle of our leadership, and I wanted no part of it. I learned a lot that day. I believe the members should select the stewards that represent them, and the executive board should be a separate entity elected as intended by the IBEW Constitution. As business manager, I will ask the members in each office to select their own stewards. There will be as many stewards in each office as there are managers. All stewards will be properly trained by the IBEW Steward Training Program, and I will also hire a staff member who will develop a continuous steward training program customized to the needs of our local. Once this plan is in place, members will see an immediate change. There will be enough stewards in each office to share in the responsibilities, so grievances will finally be processed and members will have access to union representation at all times. My plan will show the company that we're a united front, and a force to be reckoned with. Management will have to follow policies and procedures, or they'll be taken to task. You will quickly see how the environment changes when there are multiple stewards in your office. Power in numbers is a basic premise of unionism, and you will see for yourself how effective it can be. Currently, Peter has convinced most of the membership that he is the only one in the entire world that can bargain a contract. None of us can actually say that we know what actually goes on when Peter is behind closed doors negotiating a contract. Bargaining details are always kept secret from the members. Peter doesn't even allow the members to see the actual contract before voting. Instead, Peter and Casey would always do a slideshow presentation of the contract highlights, and then the members were told to vote. The vote was limited to 2 options: vote yes and accept the contract, which nobody had actually seen, or vote no and you're on strike. I'm proud to say that I have already managed to force a bit of democracy into our union. I organized a group of in-region members to apply pressure to Peter into finally agreeing to give the members a copy of the entire contract 7 days before the vote. I have also been informing members of our rights, one being the right to have a third option on the contract ballot. The third option is to be able to vote, reject the contract, and go back to work. Now, there are pros and cons to this option, and Peter, as current business manager, must clearly explain all 3 options to the members during the current contract ratification meeting. I'm not advocating for any particular option. My advocacy is all about the members' right to be fully informed before they vote. As business manager, I will also be responsible for negotiating contracts. I want you to know that I am aware that members are very concerned about voting Peter out solely because of his experience in bargaining. I understand these concerns and I would like to address them. First, let's talk about what 50 years of experience has gotten us. Each contract gets worse than the previous one. Our earnings have been steadily declining. The average sales rep's income has decreased by as much as 40%. Personally, last year I earned $60,000 less than I made in 2001. Our medical benefits have decreased while our costs have increased. Our dental coverage provides almost no coverage at all. To make matters even worse, the in-region members are losing their pension benefits with the next contract. That's what 50 years of experience has done for us. Let's face it, we've come to the point where 50 years of experience is working against us. The days of bargaining by thumping the table and bellowing strike are over. Those tactics were very effective at one time, but now we're dealing with a whole new corporate structure that answers only to their high-powered investors. The playing field has changed, and it's time to level it. The only effective approach to bargaining is with leverage. While a strike is still somewhat effective, it is just not enough leverage anymore. Without the right leverage, even someone with 70 years of experience won't be able to bargain a fair contract. But when you do have the right leverage, experience doesn't really matter. These days, contract bargaining requires knowledge and resources necessary to obtain that right leverage. Peter has become increasingly ineffective because he has a very limited grasp of technology, which in turn limits his access to knowledge and resources. He's stuck in his old ways, and the old ways have passed him by. I have spent the past year and a half learning about union management, labor organizing, management relations, contract bargaining, and the fiduciary duties of union leadership. I'm a member of the Association for Union Democracy. In addition to being educated, I was able to develop contacts and relationships with incredible people throughout the country. I've been mentored by esteemed labor relation professors, authors of books on bargaining, economists, and even a retired presidentially appointed director of the Department of Labor. I've been able to amass a huge wealth of sources who are ready and willing to help me obtain the leverage needed to bargain fair and equitable contracts with these new corporations that we're dealing with. I'll also receive training by IBEW International, and they will also provide an experienced negotiator to assist at the bargaining table. I have got the knowledge and resources it takes to obtain and use the right leverage, which is really what bargaining is all about. So now you know that Peter Pusatari really isn't the only person in the entire world who can bargain a contract. The issues we are facing today are exactly why democracy must be the cornerstone of a union. I believe in democracy. I don't understand the obsession with absolute power and control. I know that once I bring openness and honesty to the membership, our work life will become much easier. Democracy really is the only way to run a union. Thank you so much for your time and attention. At our next webinar, I will detail a sort of timeline of events that have led to the current criminal investigation of our union officers by the Department of Labor. It is important that you listen closely to the information that I will be sharing. It's crucial for the future of our local that members have all the information needed to cast an informed vote in this historic election. You will soon understand why we must vote Peter and the old guard out. Thank you, and have a good night.